ever have one of those pivotal moments when you were growing up that really gave you direction? Let me tell you a little story. I was brought up in West LA, but by the time I got to junior high, which is now called middle school, I was in Santa Monica, and I was there through junior high into high school. Anyway, I got beat up every day after school. I was insecure. I was dressed in Goodwill clothing in an affluent neighborhood because my mom got a good deal on an apartment. She was an interior designer. Anyway, I digress a lot. Anyway, so needless to say, the more I got beat up after school, the more insecure I got. And then finally, I got to go to camp. And it was the Bay Cities Community Center in Santa Monica. And it was a chance to reinvent myself as a 13-year-old. And everything else is going on with us when we're 13. We're growing into our teeth, our ears, our feet. I was 5'7" by this time, so I was a little on the awkwardly tall side. But I remember thinking specifically, this was an opportunity, this day camp, where nobody knew me. As a matter of fact, I changed my name from Maria to Mia, just because it was a persona that I could jump into. And this persona was going to be confident and funny and delightful and bubbly and smart. And so I played the role. And no sooner than 2 weeks into the summer camp, I noticed that when we were on the camp bus rides to different locations, they were clamoring to sit next to me. And they were asking me for their little pimply advice or whatever. I couldn't believe it. I go, they're really buying this, but this is great. I needed something. And so as it progressed and as I formed friendships there, at first feeling like a fraud, I later realized that, not too much later, but by the end of that camp year, I was realizing I was in a different part of myself that wasn't able to be expressed. And so by the time the summer camp was over, Mia was glowing. And then I had to go back to school. This was a test. This was a test. And if it wasn't for the fact that I realized something literally the day before the semester started, which was the prior semester, I was walking around like this. Don't hurt me! And that makes you a target. So I had a little bit more bravado going into this next semester. And you know what? I had nothing to lose. And it was tested. And this is how. I was late coming to class. And I was walking across the track that would get me to the class. And coming my direction was the girl that was in charge of all the mean girls, but she was by herself. She was a little thing, cute, blonde hair, Barbie-ish. No offense to Barbie, I know there's Barbie lovers out there. But anyway, she was walking towards me. We were walking towards each other, and she wasn't going to say anything. And I was kind of offended because I was ready to test my ass. And finally she did it. She snorted, that kind of, and I go, Did you have something to say? Now, I wasn't trying to start a fight. I was just see how I could hold up. And I was feeling good. I'm still looking at it. You're a loser. Look what you wear, she says. I go, I gotta get to class. Fine, she says. But she looked a little intimidated. And I go, listen, don't give me any shit. And if your girls come after me after school anymore, I'm gonna take care of each and every one of you. Of course, I was bluffing. She goes, well, fine. And she dropped her books by accident. And when I went to help her pick them up, she was, don't hurt me. And I went, oh my God, did I have this power this whole time and I didn't realize it? And then she says, listen, you leave me alone. And she said it really loud. And the funny thing happened is that in the building that's next to the track, there's 3 floors of classrooms. And I look up and I see the shadows of little faces up to the wall because the bell hadn't quite rung yet. And when she went off crying, little by little, just like in the movies, like 1, and then 2, and then 10, and then, oh God. So this was my moment. This was my moment. And so Mia has been living in here ever since, and I call upon her often. Do you have yours?